Welcome back. Controversial Democrat Manhattan D.A. Alvin Bragg is facing a tough re-election challenge from former legal aid attorney Maud Maron. Maron is a parent member of District 2's Community Education Council. She also ran for Congress as a Democrat just 2 years ago, but she left the Democrat Party and became an independent. Then she registered as a Republican in October of last year. The New York Post editorial board writing this: Maud Maron versus D.A. Alvin Bragg is a winnable race for Republicans. Plenty of New Yorkers want Alvin Bragg gone. Now they have a candidate. Joining me now is Manhattan D.A. candidate, former public defender and political activist, Maud Maron. Maud, thanks very much for being here. Congratulations on your efforts here.
Thank you so much for having me, Maria.
Tell us about your decision to enter the Manhattan D.A. race and why you switched political parties twice.
You know, I've been elected by the parents of Manhattan to serve on a school board as a Democrat, as an independent. I don't think people want a particular party as much as they want a safe city where they can get to work, where their children can get to school, and be safe.
So you're basically responding to the people of your community. What do they want?
Look, I am a parent, as you mentioned, of 4 children. We have hundreds of thousands of kids in New York that take the subway as the yellow school bus for transportation to middle school and to high school. Parents need to know that they're safe. We have people who go into a drugstore and want to buy toothpaste or shampoo, but have to ring somebody up to unlock it for them because we have leaders like Alvin Bragg who have made our city responsive to lawbreakers instead of law abiders, and that needs to change in New York.
Yeah, I mean, I think mothers are certainly in alignment on this. But then there's all the lawfare, Maud. President-elect Trump's lawyers are demanding New York Attorney General Letitia James drop her civil fraud case against him. His family, and his businesses. Trump's attorney have argued in a letter to James that it would be for, quote, the greater good of the country. Trump was ordered to pay $454 million in civil fraud judgments, but he's appealed the ruling, and judges on the New York Appeals Court seem open to potentially reversing that judgment altogether. D.A. Bragg, meanwhile, agreed to delay Trump's sentencing in his New York hush money case, but he's only delaying it until Trump is out of office in 2029. Bragg says he opposes tossing the case out entirely. What are your thoughts here?
Maria, the reality is Lady Justice wears a blindfold because justice needs to be blind. We do not need prosecutors to use the prosecutor's office to go after political enemies. We need prosecutors to prosecute crime so that people walking in the streets, both New Yorkers who live here and the tourists who come from all over the country and all over the world, can get around safely, and we can all live here safely. That's the prosecutor's job, and that's what I will do if given the opportunity.
Joe Borelli, jump in here.
Yeah, I want to turn back to New York because I'm a New Yorker, and one of the only things you could not criticize Alvin Bragg for is brutal honesty. This is a guy who on day one issued his aptly named Day One memo, which he sought to undermine every responsible policy the Manhattan DA's office had. I want to hear from you, Maud, because you are a public defender. You're someone who wasn't always a Republican. I want to hear what your Day One memo looks like.
Absolutely. Look, it's really simple. The Day One memo is to prosecute the crimes that are on the books. We have laws that make our misdemeanors and make our felonies, and I have been in 100 Center Street in the court house where Alvin Bragg works, and I know how that system works. I know how we can prosecute crimes and make sure that the people who need to be in jail are in jail, and I need to make sure that people in underserved communities have the law enforcement that they need to live safely, and as I told Maria, so that our children can get to school safely and can take the subway. Day One memo says there are crimes on the books, and we need to prosecute those crimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible what's going on in New York and in lots of big cities. New York City Mayor Eric Adams appearing to acknowledge that the city bears some responsibility for a homeless man's stabbing spree that left 3 New Yorkers dead. Watch this.
We have a broken mental health system, and if we don't do something about it, we could see incidents like this taking place. Can the city do more? You're darn right we can. But our federal government can do more. Our state government can do more. Our partners across the hall can do more. We all can do more. 3 New Yorkers were murdered. And not only were they murdered, how many New Yorkers was pushed to the subway tracks? How many New Yorkers were slashed while walking down the block?
Well, Maud, I mean, they could do more, but why aren't they, right? Why do you think they aren't? This suspect, 51-year-old Ramon Rivera, had an extensive criminal history. He had 8 prior arrests. He was released from jail just weeks before the fatal attack. A 55-year-old tourist was also attacked with a knife while walking on the sidewalk in broad daylight on the Upper West Side last week, Maud. What are your plans to tackle New York City's crime and migrant crisis? And, you know, what do you say to Mayor Adams when he says, yeah, we could all do more? Well, then why aren't they?
You know, the reality is, in 2017, there were 0 homicides in the subway. We actually know how to have a safe city, and most New Yorkers can remember our city being much more safe. Since 2019, we've had a 30% increase in violent crimes and major felonies in this city. The reality is, we have to change the laws in Albany that have been changed to accommodate our lawbreakers and not our law abiders. We need to prosecute crime, and we need a district attorney who's interested in prosecuting those crimes. And one more thing, Maria, the reality is it's unsafe for New Yorkers to have violent, mentally ill people walking on the streets, but we're certainly not doing any favors to the mentally ill community that desperately needs help and that needs to have the ability to get off the streets. It works for everybody to make sure that we're keeping people off the streets who are violent. We need to protect New Yorkers, and we need to do that through a district attorney who wants to prosecute crime.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think this happened? Why doesn't he want to prosecute crime? I mean, what is the story with Alvin Bragg? Did he just get so political and get Trump derangement syndrome? What happened?
Alvin Bragg's not the only one. There are Soros-funded DAs throughout the city that have just been turfed out of their office, frankly. Gascon in Los Angeles and previously in San Francisco. Residents in cities that have too much crime get fed up, and they realize that progressive policies that may have seemed like a good idea, but in reality actually wind up hurting the very people they're meant to protect and everybody else, are not an effective way to run a city.
All right, we will be watching your work, Maud. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, Maud Maron joining us this morning in New York.